new day, a new adventure, and a perfect sunny day. Yesterday I booked a tour. They call it Tuscany tour, one of the most beautiful parts of Italy. And I also parked my motorcycle in a safe place because we had organized transportation by the agency. I don't recommend which agency to choose if you want to go on the tour because everyone has kind of similar prices, but I highly suggest if you can book a tour, do it. Most of wanderings I organize by myself, but sometimes I think group tours can be kind of significant in a way that you can meet new people and see some of the best things in that particular region, especially if you don't stay for a long period of time. I chose a combination of wine tasting and touring the castle because these are my favorite places I like to see. I got to the center of Siena 2 hours earlier, so I took the time to see the morning market a bit, where I bought a couple of things. I checked the oil in the engine and inflated the tires. And what is important to me on tours like this is to feel the authentic original Tuscany. So taste, smell and color of Tuscany. The road to the castle itself was beautiful. I thought it would be perfect too, riding a motorbike this way, but it is also lovely to sit back in a van and observe all those beautiful landscapes that resemble a fairy tale. The story of the castle and the church comes from 13th century by a friendly guide followed, and then we reached the beautiful part where we took pictures as a souvenir and used the time to enjoy the smells that spread through the hills and the sounds of birds that create a chill-ful atmosphere. It's really magical. I thought I could stay here forever. So we approached the gate. It reminds me of a movie like Three Musketeers, only in the Italian version. And I was waiting for a couple of Richelieu soldiers to come out with their swords and sabers and fight. Yeah, that looks funny. The castle always housed the whole town with houses, shops, churches, galleries, and everything that made a small place. The shops are small, but so nicely decorated in a rustic style, my favorite, and the Italians try to keep that simple rustic look. The products they sold looked incredibly delicious, especially the cheeses with those spices and seeds, herbs, and wrapped in leaves. It's quite phenomenal. I noticed prosciutto as well. That smells so strong that it gives you an idea how tasty it is. And then I saw beside the regional wines, and I saw some other wines from different regions, which was great. And I saw a few of them that were quite expensive, but the good thing is I could try them. And they were selling in a different kind of doses, like 30 ml, half glass and full glass. So I tried Tignanello 2013 and a few more Tuscan wines, but a little older, from 2009 and 2010. I don't know, somehow in my opinion I felt very fruity flavors presented like plum, blueberry, lots of blueberry, and in some wines I felt lots of cherry flavor. They were also not full of tannins, if I may say it like that, which I prefer. I prefer more tannic, more dry, more powerful, and more astringent, but they were very nice to drink. And so, under the impression of various wines, I bought a couple of delicacies for dinner. There were a couple of cheeses, juicy prosciutto, my really favorite, in combination with olives, and I took a little bit of coffee for the morning. On the other side of the castle, you can find a couple of galleries with beautiful works, primarily paintings and a few handmade small glass sculptures. And then furthermore, you will bump on the church from the 13th century, but in a Romanesque Gothic style, which also attracted my attention. I walked a bit around the church and, through the streets and of the enormous fortress, and that makes me go back to fantasizing. The wandering did not last long because it was time to go for a wine tasting. That is the bad side of a organized tour. You have to leave when they say. But also I was looking forward to this wine tasting. I also found a new friend, a small hairy but sweet and cuddly one. I didn't know his name, but it is a small black cute dog, so cuddly that they couldn't resist and spent half an hour petting him. It was quite fascinating to me because we went to visit a private vineyard and try the original Chianti. The drive was short, so we quickly arrived at the property and warmly welcomed by a young man who was supposed to tell us all about a wine and history. Very friendly and likable. It was nice to listen to him and taste the wines. I liked some of them, although in this period of my life I prefer some relatively dry wines full of tannins and intense in flavor, such as dark berries, maybe peppery and earthy tones and leathery flavors. Yeah, something like that. I also tried the olive oil and balsamic vinegar. They were perfect. It was great to meet people too. We tasted 5 wines and I liked 2 of them. Rosso Toscano from 2012 and Chianti Classico from 2014. And those wines were quite fruity with some dried herbs flavor, which was kind of new flavor for me. Really herby and a hint of smokiness. It was quite unique combination of flavors. Besides Sangiovese, Chianti wines may contain wine grapes like Agnolo, I think they pronounce like that. I wasn't impressed by crackers and cheese. I think they could do better, especially they're Italians. They should have really better crackers and better cheese. But I guess this was more about wine, and maybe my expectations are higher. It was a pleasant experience that lasted a short time. It's always short when you have nice experience, and it was time to go back to the city. Upon returning to the city, I walked more, and I must admit that it takes a bit of fitness to walk around Siena. Everything is ups and down, and the whole area is quite hilly. I need to walk up and down the entire city. I didn't want to go anywhere for dinner, but to have a nice rest because I'm going to pack and go to another town. It's time to change spot. I have to admit that I'm pretty tired from the incredible journey, but I'm still held by adrenaline and the desire to go further. I also know that I will sleep well and that in the morning it will be a totally different story. If you want to see more videos, they are coming up. Please subscribe and you'll get notification when it comes out. I think I decided to continue with the Wednesday. It would be Wednesday morning, approximately around 5 o'clock in the morning, New Zealand time, which means for Europe that is around 5 o'clock during the evening. Depends, is it winter or summer? And for US, let's say Washington area, that would be around midday. The next city I go to is quite exquisite, and I will stay there for 3 days, which should give me enough time to feel the atmosphere and see some of the sights I wanted. Although I didn't make any particular plan, I had a couple of ideas of what I need to see.